An absolute legend. Welcome back to the show. If you are just joining us, I am your host, Thandiwe Yege. And of course, this is Youth Cafe. And today we're going to be delving into a very serious topic, which is suicide and depression. And on our panel of guests, we have some very, very informative people. We have Yahya Ngondosio. My goodness, I do not even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Is that the right pronunciation?
Yahya Ngondosio.
Yahya Ngondosio. And we have Cecilia Mboya. She is a psychologist. And of course, we have Jeff Mandela. Brian Aselli is here with us also, of course.
And definitely, Jeff Mandela is an animator, so he's in the creative sector. And of course, thank you very much, lady and gentlemen, for just creating time to be here with us. And I'll just dive into the stats. About 1 million people, according to the World Health Organization, commit suicide. 1 million people commit suicide. And it's as a result of what we are talking about. This earlier on this week, it was the Suicide Prevention Day.
Yes.
And of course, we just want to know that, have you ever heard of a story that someone committed suicide and they're pretty much close to you? And what do you think were some of the causes surrounding the same?
Basically, yes. We've had several incidences where people are not being themselves because, of the depression, the issue of depression. And in this case, people usually just not, especially in the creative industry. One of the causes of depression is the lack of the societal expectation of you. We don't really exist in careers where people deem as normal or conventional. Now you find that a lot of people in the creative industry go through these situations which don't really fare on well for them because they feel like they are not worthy or they are not, the same as other careers out there. Yeah.
All right, Cecilia, I want to direct this question to you since you're the professional. 4 out of 5 teens who commit suicide show warning signs. So what is it that we are doing wrong? What is it that we are not seeing in people who commit suicide? How do we identify someone who's about to take that trip, that jump?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Actually, most of the suicides take place between 15 to 35 years, most of the suicides, and that includes the teens. And the reason is because when you talk about teens, there are a lot of changes taking place in a teen's life. The child is coming from childhood, adolescence to adulthood, and there are a lot of transition taking place in the child, especially emotional, and a lot of other changes. And sometimes parents and other caregivers are not alert to this. And this is a time, for example, in education, the child is leaving primary school when they were doing less units. They are going to school. They are supposed to do double units in a familiar environment. So the pressure is too much for the teens. And I would not blame the parents or the caregivers or because most of the time we don't understand what is going on in their life. So the best thing is to speak out about what is happening. And in connection to this, personally, he asked a good question, whether we have seen somebody who has done that. I've lost my brother through suicide, and myself, I've attempted suicide when I was a teenager. So I've had a first-hand experience. And the reason is, what I'm talking about is, you feel a lot of pressure between school and home. Parents are not understanding. The school is not understanding, and you feel you are lost. You have nowhere to go, so you'll feel like you are hopeless. You don't know what to do. Yeah.
Do you feel like Kenyan parents or African parents as a whole have a clear understanding of what depression is? Because most people who experience depression, especially teens, you go to your parents and you tell them, oh, dad, mom, I'm depressed, and they'll be, no, those are millennial type problems.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's the situation?
At least at the moment, because of the flooding of information all over social media and technology, most of the parents are getting more exposed. But what has happened is that most of the parents do not really understand whether this is depression or not. And therefore, maybe sometimes the child, because, for example, physical manifestation of depression, some of them is a child lacking energy. Maybe this adolescent or teenager or whoever it is, they have no energy to do many things, which they normally do. And sometimes the parents will think this is laziness. It's labeled laziness. Maybe they start performing, the academic performance goes down, and they think the person is not working hard, is playing, is not doing whatever. Yet the child is feeling a lot of pressure, emotional pressure, psychological pressure, physically they have managed, all these are manifestation of, and therefore sometimes the parents may not understand that that is exactly what is happening. And the reason is because of the generation gap. But while we were brought up, things were different than the way we have brought up our children, and therefore it's not, there are a lot of gaps. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Brian, why you're here is because you've gone through depression and actually came out of it.
Yeah, totally.
And of course, I'd like you to just share with us what perspired, because so many Kenyans out there would like to get a hold of what you went through, and of course, how did you come out of it?
Okay, it's quite interesting because one of the things that actually led me to that state was because there was no one to talk to. We do not have enough support systems. So you realize I'm a man, so if I go and speak to someone about my situation, they tell me, oh, kuwa mwanaume. And you see, at home, at work, there's pressure, there's social pressure, there's pressure at work. You have pressure from every place in your life. But there's no one you can listen can listen to you. There's no one you can talk to. There's no one you can share that. And that's why I think even the stats show men actually are the largest in terms of suicide.
They're most affected.
Yeah, they're the most affected.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, it was because basically there was no one I could talk to. And I remember, it's actually not a long time ago, it's about a year ago. And I had gotten to that point when I was on the verge of suicide. I had gotten to that point where for me, nothing made sense anymore. I was doing well, of course. I had a good job already. I had graduated. I was living on my own. I was having, let's say I was having a good life at least as per other people. But when you try to talk to someone, or when you try to get someone to talk to, they would be like, what's your problem? You have a good life, you have a good job, you have a nice family, so what's the problem? And you see, people do not really realize actually depression has the same effect physical illness has on someone. Like it erases the memory of wellness in someone. And that is the point where now someone does not see the need of moving on with life after that. Yeah.
Just talk to me, Mandela, and tell me, like, as a young man, is it hard for you to speak up on some matters, or maybe you're facing an issue? Is it hard for you to actually talk to someone? And have you ever been through a problem and probably talked to someone and then it actually went south?
As she has said, there's a huge problem in terms of depression. And also, as she said, once you're a man,
Ni mwanaume. Jipange nani, bora uhai.
Exactly. And so you see that's a problem. And if you go talk to someone, it kind of there's some sort of stigma surrounding it as men, because you suppress all your emotions, you suppress all your kind of feelings, so that had it to the point that inakuja explode. That's where now it comes into to suicide. So I think the best solution for all this is just communication, open communication, and those avenues which men.
So I'm being told that your microphone has a problem. We're going to take a short break and then come back and talk about the same. Ebu niulize swali moja. Have you ever been depressed? Please talk to us. #YouthCafe. CCR. Take a short break.